In this video, we're going to start installing the front disc brake conversion. This is from Wilwood, and I'm going to show you everything that I need to do to make it work on the new RideTech spindle. There's a new RideTech spindle, and I'm going to give you a breakdown on how everything goes together and the problems that you're going to have, if you're going to have any. So just want to show you everything. These are the rotors. I didn't take them out of the package yet. So again, we're going to get started doing that. So let's get going. Okay, what I'm going to do now, these are the bearings. So they have to be packed with grease. This one here and this one here. These are the small bearings. These are the larger bearings. So this is the outer and this is the inner. So they don't come packed. So I went and I got this premium high temperature grease. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack them. So that's going to take some time. So what I'm going to do is I am going to turn the camera off, and when I am ready, done packing the bearing, this is a bad glove, but anyway, all right. So what you do is you put some, case you don't know, oh, these are bad gloves. In case you don't know, just put a little bit of grease on your palm, all right? And then take the bearing and work it in like this, okay? And as you put a little bit in there, as you do that, what happens is that you push the grease from the bottom to the top. So, and then you just keep doing this till you see how it's coming out of the top there. That way you know that your bearing is totally packed. Okay, and you just move over to the next inch or half inch and just keep doing that. And again, you can see it's coming out, and then you just keep rotating it until the bearing is totally packed. So if you have a question, comment, let me know. I got to pack 4 bearings, and when I'm done, I'm going to turn the camera back on. So I'll be right back. I just got done packing the bearings right there. This is the inner bearings, which are larger than the outer bearings that go on the spindle. Just in case you're wondering. When you install these bolts here, they're 3 3/4 and 3 1/2. So I made a mark. I don't know if you could see it right here. Well, anyway, it comes up in the camera really well. You see that flat spot? That flat spot right there is where you need to be for the General Motors bolt pattern. Okay, so these get screwed in, you know, like that, and there's five lugs per hub. All right, so that gets in there like this. So I'm going to show you how we do that. I just gotta, okay, yep, they go like that. So yeah, you see that little flat spot? That's the mark where you need to be for the General Motors, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 3 3/4. And there's a little flat spot on every one of them on this one. See, this one's round and this one's flat. Let's see if I get a nice shot of that right there. I also made a mark with my marker right there so I could find them very easily right here. Okay, but there's a good one right here. You see where it's flat? Perfect. All right, so let me put these studs in on this bolt pattern, and I'll be right back. I have the studs in the hub. Each stud gets torqued down to 77 foot-pounds. In case you're wondering the torque specs on that, this is 77 foot-pounds. And I'm going off of the recommendations that they give you in the assembly instructions, in case you're wondering. So the bearings are packed right there. So I am going to take this hubcap off of the front here, and this is where the small, right there, just like that. So this is where the small bearing goes. Okay, so the small bearing right there goes in the front, and the larger bearing goes in the back. But I want to put some gloves on before I handle those parts. But anyway, just wanted to show you that. Now I'm going to put my camera up on the tripod, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing here. So be right back. Okay, that bolt pattern, I made a mistake on the spacing. It is actually 4 3/4 of an inch separation for the General Motors pattern, not 3 3/4. I apologize. I just wanted to put that in there. Well, I'm going to install the seal for the bearing. Okay, so right here, I'm going to install the inner bearing in there, okay? And I'm going to put some grease in there from the bearing, just rub it around. And there you go. And then I'm going to put some where the seal sits, just a little bit, just to lubricate it up, okay? So I'm installing the bearing in the race, and then this is the seal. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to gently tap the seal in place. I might need a piece of wood to get it in there. That way you don't damage it, you just gently tap. Okay, that's it. So then what I'm going to do is just clean this up a little bit. There you go. And that's nice and clean. And that's it. Now the bearing's installed with the seal. So now that's complete for this one for now. So now I'm going to do the inner one, but I'm only going to do the inner bearings when I install it on the spindle. So let me be right back, and I'm going to figure out exactly how I'm going to do this. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm ready to install the hub on the spindle, but right here is where it's going to sit. So I want to make sure I'm going to put a little bit more grease in there, not too much. I don't want it to get dirty from all the grease attracting dirt. So what I'm going to do is put this on just like that, just to lube it up, just to make sure it is not going to corrode on me. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put this on here just like that. Okay, let's just spin it around a little bit, make sure everything is nice and tight. Okay, that fit nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean up the hub a little bit. Got some grease on it. Okay, so that's all that is, just like that. Now, the castle nut and the washer with the tongue here. The tongue, this actually comes with the kit, so it's right here. So I'm going to use the Wilwood system for that. It's the only thing that this doesn't come with, this kit, is the castle nut. So the castle nut, I'm going to have to use the castle nut that came with the Ride-Tech spindle. And I want to show you, this is the Wilwood washer right here. Okay, and you can see how thick that is. Look at the difference between Ride-Tech versus the Wilwood. So the Wilwood is actually nice and thick. So I'm going to use that and see how that plays out. Yeah, that actually is pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the little bearing. Give me a second. Okay, this is the outer, the smaller bearing is the outer bearing. Okay, so just want to put that in there just like that. I'm going to clean the excess off. And I'm going to see the washer difference. So this washer here, let's see, that actually fits the whole hub. And let me see, get that out. Hold on. And let me see the Wilwood one is actually thicker, like I said. That fits snug. But actually, I like the way the Ride-Tech one sits a little better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see which one fits better, and then I'm going to put the castle nut on just like that. Okay. So I'm going to check everything, make sure everything works, and I'm going to get back to you, and I'm going to see which one I decided to use. So I'll be right back. I decided to use the washer that came with the Wilwood kit because it's thicker than the Ride-Tech one, and it actually fits a lot snugger than this one does. So you see how the key is far apart there? So I mean, it's snug. This one's not as snug as the other one. The only difference is I think that this one will retain the grease better, but I'm sure that this is just fine. So, okay. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. Again, the castle nut does not come with the Ride-Tech, with the Wilwood system. So right now I just have it in there temporarily. So, all right, let's keep going. The other thing I noticed is that if I use this washer from Ride-Tech, it's actually too big, and the dust cap from Wilwood will not fit over it like this. So for now, I removed the cotter pin because I didn't adjust it because I want to make sure everything's nice and tight. So I didn't do that yet, but I'm just going to screw this on so there's no problems with dust getting in there and attaching itself to the grease. So if you have any questions, leave a comment, let me know. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But anyway, let's continue on. The hub right here, I didn't tighten anything down because you will have to use Loctite on certain areas, and I'll point that out as we go further. But right now, what I want to do is I want to show you, this is the bracket that I'm going to use to attach to the spindle that this other bracket bolts to. Okay, this bracket here bolts to that and goes in there like that. Okay, and sorry I can't show you this side, but I'll bring you down here and show you exactly what it looks like. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to do this. Everything comes in this kit. So you use this number 8 bolt to hold the plate in here. Okay, sorry, it goes on the outside of the spindle. Okay, put one washer, and you might have to use a couple spacers depending on you want to make sure that this is perfectly parallel to the spindle. So you use one of these washers here. Okay, the gray one. I'll go gray and gold so people understand. And then you use this spacer here. Okay, this spacer is for the top part of the spindle where this special socket head bolt goes through. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna put this up in here, And this bracket is tapered to accept that. So I'm just going to put that in there just temporarily like that, and just to hold that. So then you have to use 2 of these spacers right here, okay? So the 2 spacers go up against the 2 spacers goes up against your spindle. So they give you 4. So just to make sure that's lined up properly, okay? So that's snug. For some reason, this hex head bolt is hard to screw into this spindle. But what I ended up doing was take a wire brush and clean it up really well, and put some oil, and then dried it off really well just to make sure that it works. So I'm going to grab my socket over here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just turn this so it doesn't come off. Okay, so that's on there, and I want to make sure that this bracket is actually parallel. So it looks like I'm going to need 2 or 3 spacers on the bottom here. So they give you a bunch of spacers in the kit. So these are the small gold thin spacers. So it looks like I'm going to need like 3 or 4. So what I am going to do is pull this bolt out a little bit and slide them back here. I'm going to put 2 at a time, make sure everything lines up properly. It looks like I'm going to need 3. All right, I'm going to put 3 in there. Okay, that looks perpendicular with the spindle. So I'm going to give this a shot. So I'm going to snug everything down. I'm going to put the gray washer in the back of the bottom bolt. And this is the 12-point nut that they recommend you put on the back here. So I'm just going to put that on there finger tight for now. And I'm going to tighten this up, and then I'm going to show you my next step. I'll be right back. I snugged the hex head flat bolt in to the top of the spindle. Everything looks good there. I did the bolt on the bottom with the gray washer, and I put in 5 spacers in the back so it lines up. I could take one of these spacers out up here and bring it in a little bit, and then take one spacer out at the bottom. But before I do that, I want to make sure this is the bracket that holds the brake caliper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on here like this, okay? And I'm going to put the flat side to the flat side, in case you're wondering. There's a little groove here. So I want to put this, I mean, you could install it like that depending on the spacing that you have, but I want to put the flat on the flat, and then you use, again, these bolts come with the kit. I'm using 2 spacers on here just to see how it lines up with the rotor. So I'm going to put that on the top one and the bottom one. I'm going to make this snug. So once I do that, I'm going to put the rotor on and test that. So give me a second. Again, I'm doing this so they're snug. Nothing's permanent. So I just want to test it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install, make sure this hub's tight, this is tight, everything's nice and tight, snug, sorry. I'm going to put the rotor on, okay, so I'm going to line that up. Again, this is just test fitting the rotor. So in order for this to sit flush, you have to install the 3 little screws. Let me grab them, they're over here. Okay, this right here, their little hex head flat, part number 7032. I'm going to put these on here just to hold it in place, to make sure everything lines up properly. Okay, I'm only going to put in, hold on a second, let me just turn this, there you go. Line it up so the 3 holes for your lock screws fit in. That's what I did. So instead of just putting one, you want to make sure everything's nice and snug. All right. All right, I'm just going to snug this little flat screw up. Make sure that everything's sitting nice and snug here. Okay. I'm only going to put 2 in for now, just to catch the bottom. So it's nice and tight, everything's lining up properly. Then I'm going to take the my 6-piston rotor and see if it lines up, if it sits in here properly. I have to adjust the distance between here. They give you a lot of shims to do that, in case you're wondering. So I just want to put this on here and see how much adjustment I need to do. So that's on there, and that to me so far looks pretty good. Okay, that looks nice. I didn't put the bolts in here yet. I just want to see, look at that, that again spins nicely. Okay, so I see here, just by looking at it, on the bottom of the space on the top, that this rotor needs to come in that way. Well, I'm sorry, out, needs to come out, I would say a 1/16 of an inch for it to be equal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of those spacers, okay, and I'm going to push it over just a breath to make sure that the spacing is equal. When I'm all done doing that, I'm going to bring you down here and show you exactly what it looks like. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step on this side so you can see it. And if you have any questions, let me know. I haven't done anything permanent yet, so I want to make sure everything is lined up, my spacing is proper. Once I get that, then I'm going to use all my Loctite. I'm going to tighten my studs. These studs are loose. I'm going to tighten my studs up before I go any further. And I'm going to put, I forgot to mention, I'm going to put everything down. I'm going to bring you down here so you can see everything that I did. I forgot to mention this steering arm. This steering arm right here does not come with this kit. So you need to reuse these. I cleaned it up and I used some enamel. And the way these go together, I want to show you a little trick. You see this little angle on the steering arm there? This angle is to stay away from the spindle. That's why it's tweaked that way, so you don't make a mistake and install the left to the right and the right to the left like that. So, in case you're wondering, just a little FYI. So I'm going to put this in here, put that back on there. Again, nothing's tight, nothing's permanent. So I'm going to take this back apart, make sure my spacing is correct, and then I'm going to bring you down here and point out exactly what I did. I'm all done installing the brake pads, the rotor, the caliper, the hub. Everything is complete. I just want to show you what you have to do to adjust this. The other thing is I mentioned that the spindle doesn't come, the steering spindle doesn't come with this kit. So you're going to have to use them over again. So I'm going to bring you down here and show you exactly what I did. So let's get started. Okay, here we are. I didn't put these in because I kept taking the rotor in and out. But you put the gray washer on there like this, and then you put the these 12-point nuts on here, and then you tighten them down. The specs on those are, you see the spacing here? Everything is nice. There's the rotor, I'm spinning it. Symmetrical. There's no big spaces. Everything's lining up really nicely. So what I ended up doing is, let me show you. They recommend, I'm trying to do this with one hand. Hold on a second. Okay, let me take this out right here, and I want to show you. They also recommend that the brake pads right here are flush with the rotor. So in order to do that, what you have to do is, let me put this down. What you have to do is, let me take these brakes out so I'm not damaging anything. Okay, you have to lift this up and down. So they give you shims in this kit. So as you can see right here, I put a shim just to raise it up a breath to make sure that the brake pads are flush with the rotor. Okay, so I'm going to put this down right here, and I'm going to show you what I ended up doing. See, this is the steering arm. I didn't put it together yet, but they give you the bolts right here, and you see how long it is? What you're going to have to do after you put your lock nut is cut them back a little bit. As you can see, this one over here, this nut is going to hit the sway bar. So you're going to make sure that that needs to get cut back, okay? So I want to show you what else you need to do. So I'm going to turn the camera off and show you exactly what you need to do here. Take off this little screw that holds the rotor so you could adjust, so you could install the rotor. So let me turn the camera off and I'll be right back. I just took the little nut off here, and I'm doing this with one hand. I apologize. All right, so now you're at the hub here. Now this is the nut right here that holds this bracket on, and for me to get that, there's no shims between the caliper and the bracket here. So this holds the caliper on, and here's the one shim I was telling you about. So I'm going to leave that on there. Okay, so now there's no shim there, so you got to tighten these down, This nut down here that is screwed to the spindle, they recommend that this nut here gets tightened down to 65 foot-pounds. You need to install Loctite on this so it doesn't move on you. And then this nut up here, the hex head nut, this nut gets torqued down to 120 foot-pounds. Okay, but you need to install Loctite on there. So the red Loctite, the permanent Loctite 271, that's what they recommend. So that right there, once I put everything together, here's the other bolt here. Try to put that through. Hold on. Okay, here's a good shot of it. These two nuts right here, or bolts right here, are what hold the spindle on this GTO. But if you could see here, I wanted to show you. You see this nut is actually hitting right here, so that's going to have to get cut. It's not going to turn that far once I install my rack and pinion, but I just want to show you that that's going to have to get cut. So I'm going to cut this back to the nut that I'm going to install. I haven't done that yet. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you a close-up of everything that I did. So that's the kit. Everything's attached. So I'm going to put everything back together. I'm going to put my Loctite on there. Again, this right here gets this nut here with Loctite, 120 foot-pounds. This one here gets 65 foot-pounds. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I am going to put this together and I'm going to show you it all complete with the nuts and the bolts tightened down. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know and I'll get back to you. Okay, everything is complete. Everything's torqued down. We completed the installation of the driver's side. Here are the bolts. I didn't have to cut them. I used lock nuts. And you see that one, there isn't really that much excess sticking out, but it is hitting the sway bar right there. So I'm just gonna make sure that when everything is secured with my rack and pinion, that it's not gonna hit that. So if that's the case, I'll just change the nut, make it a smaller one and cut it out. But that's the way it is. Everything is secured, everything is torqued down, as you can see right there. Calipers in, the brakes are in, the nuts tightened right here. Everything looks really good. Maybe come over here, show you. You need to make sure that this rotor, forgot to mention, is installed properly. So if you look right here, there is an arrow. See that arrow? And it's pointing down. That is the rotation of the rotor. So here are the three screws that hold the rotor to the hub, and everything here is installed properly, nice and tight, and everything is complete. Everything's torqued down here. So now I have to, just wanted to show you what it looks like on this side. All right, so there's everything. Again, if you have a question or a comment, please leave it below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. There's that. Okay, I just want to make sure you could see everything. Let me move it this way. And that is complete on this side here. So now I'm going to do the other side, and I'm going to turn the camera back on when everything is done, and I'll give you an overview. So, okay, be back. I just completed the passenger side, and I noticed they didn't give me these metal tabs that hold the brake pad in on the driver's side, so I didn't finish tightening down everything here and torquing everything on this side. So just wanted to show you. Other than that, it is totally complete. Give you a little wraparound view here. So this looks really sharp. All right, so let me just turn this. So everything in there is done just like the other side. Just want to show you that. Moves freely. Okay, now I'm going to show you the driver's side that I did earlier. This is the driver's side. I noticed that this doesn't spin as easy as the other side because it doesn't have those brake shims on this side of the caliper. See, they're missing. So I just got to make a couple phone calls and get that taken care of. But other than that, I'm really happy with the kit. Okay, I'm all done with the installation of the Wilwood 6-piston brake kit. Just want to show you that. Came out really, really nice. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And I'm just going to give you a little wraparound of the car right here. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. All right, and this is the passenger side. Everything is complete on this side as well. Just want to show you that. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, this is the 6-piston Wilwood brake kit. And I'll leave a part number in the description for this brake kit in case anyone wants to put this on their car. So, okay, see you on the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, I'll see you on the next video.